With the 2022 recruiting cycle just about done for South Carolina, most likely it's time to turn your attention to 2023. I'm JC Sherbert. This is the Big Spur Brief for Saturday, February the 12th. Crystal ball prediction was entered a couple of weeks ago for four-star running back Treyaun Webb from Jacksonville, Florida. He announced yesterday he's going to take two visits to South Carolina, March 15th and March 19th. Montario Hardesty, Shane Beamer, Sterling Lucas, all involved with his recruitment. He's made multiple visits already. I think the two visits over spring break are huge. Georgia's a team to watch with him. He was committed to Oklahoma. I think they've fallen off a bit, but he's ranked as one of the best backs in the country. So South Carolina continues to recruit running backs. Some people may say, well, gosh, South Carolina's got a lot of running backs. Why would he be leaning toward the Gamecocks? And you have to think about this. 2023, he won't arrive to campus until after next season. You don't know who's going to go pro, who's going to have a great year. Running backs have a short shelf life in the NFL. So just like Kevin Harris and Zaquandre White took off this season, you could have some guys take off after next season. So you always want to have plenty of players. We all remember back in 2011, Brandon Wilds, of the fourth or fifth string running back at the beginning of the year, ended up being South Carolina's starter after some injuries to Marcus Lattimore and others. So you always want depth. The big teams in the SEC all have depth at this position, and Treyaun Webb is a heck of a prospect. Really is a player that South Carolina wants and has identified early as a running back prospect. It also symbolizes Carolina's sort of re-entry into Jacksonville recruiting. Now, Jacksonville for a long time has been a place Carolina has recruited well. It's close. It's a 4-hour drive. Carolina has a big history with the Gator Bowl back in the 80s of bringing big crowds. It makes sense to recruit it. I will say sometimes Jacksonville's been a mixed bag in terms of players hitting or missing. In the previous staff under Will Muschamp, they didn't really emphasize. They de-emphasized it a bit coming from the Spurrier era where Jacksonville was a priority. So it looks like the Gamecocks are re-entering that. And as I mentioned earlier, Sterling Lucas, who was with the Jaguars before he took the job under Shane Beamer's staff, is the area recruiter down there. There's a four-star linebacker, Grayson Howard, who also has a crystal ball prediction to South Carolina from the Jacksonville area. So we'll see how fruitful that area ends up being for Carolina, Northern Florida, moving forward. Basketball today, South Carolina attempts to make it a dozen in a row against the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. Carolina's a 2.5-point favorite. Tip is 2 p.m. on the SEC network. This is one, it kind of makes you nervous because all good things come to an end when you're talking about college basketball streaks. And Georgia's played some teams pretty tough this year. They beat Alabama at home, which was an upset. They nearly knocked off Auburn. They are capable, even though they have a 6-18 record under Tom Crean, who's never beaten the Gamecocks, of winning the game. If South Carolina does not play well, if they shoot cold, if they don't guard, Georgia could win the game today, but a win for Carolina. And then you go to Ole Miss this week, got LSU coming in next Saturday. You win in Oxford, they're struggling too. Then it becomes another opportunity game to get Carolina back toward the bubble. Right now, they're not on the bubble, and it's a long shot to get back there, but there is opportunity. As Frank Martin mentioned the other day, after the Kentucky game, the season's not over. There's still 7 league games left to play, plus the conference tournament. So we'll see what happens today. But certainly Georgia's a team in any sport South Carolina needs to go and beat. That's always a good one when you can beat the Dogs, and Carolina's done it 11 times in a row. At Stegeman Coliseum, they'll attempt to do the dozen today. All right, so recruiting right now in football, back to that subject. It's sort of at a lull. We're kind of in a dead period. Coach is taking some time off. Beamer's been doing a lot of interviews, talking about recruiting. He's at South Carolina hockey games. He's all over the place, promoting the big news that the spring game is going to be at night. Certainly, once spring practice gets back rolling and we're back in a period where recruiting can happen, there'll be more news on that end. All right, folks, have a happy Super Bowl weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there that subscribe to this YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate it. Tell your friends. Have like lots of little extra nuggets and content right here on the Big Spur YouTube channel. I'm JC Sherbert. This has been the Big Spur Brief for Saturday, February 12th. Have a great weekend, everyone.